Sid Vicious, wearing number 11, Rainbow, number 11, Jazz, Maniac Devil. Number 17, Dynamite Dog. 171, Hello Hitty. Number 18, Shiva Destroyer. 181, Dark Skater. 22, Catatonic Bomb. 23, Belladonna. 29, Hello Destroyer. Number 44, Mars Bars. 462, Barracuda. Number 616, El Diablo. Number 666, Waffles. Number 811, Cottonmouth, and number 88, Track Mamba. And for Pittsburgh, this is the All-Star. This is the Yinzer Dead, number 00, Matt Catterall. Okay, we do have some fans here today. Remember, number 8, Pound Cake, number 17, Deer Dance, 22, G-Force, 301, Gorilla Biscuits, 42, Big Rig, 3317, Slay, 38, Ruben here, number 4, El Diablo, number 42, Peanut Butter, number 48, Turkey Vic, 69, Crunch Buggy, number 66, Joker, number 74, Big Killjoy, and number 934, Hopper Rock. Those are your picks for Joker Rex, Yinzer Dead. Eastern time, for those here on the live feed. We're going to Philly All-Stars versus Black Rose. And our final game will be the Philly All-Stars taking on this same team, the Pittsburgh Yinzer Dead. That was the first game out for Denver. This is number 10, Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious is the lead Dreamer. The Joker. I think the Pittsburgh fans and the Philly fans have thus far been the loudest this weekend. I think that the last game where they're going to be on the same track together is going to be really intense. So it's been a long week. Number 88, Track Mamba with the star and the lead jam with Denver.
Diablo unable to score. An 8-point run, though, there for Track Mamba. That's going to bring Denver up to 12 points. Pittsburgh still scoreless. Out now. We got number 17, Deer Dance from Pittsburgh. And number 1111, Jasmanian Devil with the star for Denver. Okay, each team down a blocker in the box, so it's a 4-on-4 jam. Deer Dance fighting at the bottom of the pack. Deer Dance, though, gets a block there by Painbow, and Deer Dance is out. First Pittsburgh lead of the game. Jasmine Neville breaks out, so both jammers able to score, and Deer Dance taking on a bounce, coming around the turn, and she calls off the jam. So Denver is going to be scoreless, +3 there for Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh now at 3, Denver with a scoreless jam, they're at 12. Looks like we have number 629 Punch Buggy out with the star for Pittsburgh, and Catatomic Bomb jamming for Denver. Four versus 3 pack here in favor of Pittsburgh, but Catatomic Bomb is out with a Denver lead. Huffleruff and Tricky Vic working side by side at the top of the pack, but Catatomic Bomb gets through that 2-wall and has 4 points. Here comes Catatomic for one more scoring trip, making very quick work of that pass now. Looking at an 8-point jam. Catatomic now on a 3rd scoring trip, coming right through that pack, barely even slowing down. Huffleruff going for a block at the top of the pack. I think it looks like Punch Buggy doesn't, okay, may have passed that star over to El Diablo. Diablo does receive that star pass. That jam going to be called off with a 12-point run there. Maybe, let's see. Okay, we got 4 more points here rolling in for Catatomic Bomb, making this a 16-point run.
Go, Joker!
Sid Vicious back out the jam for Denver, and number 66, the Joker. These two jammers took the face off at the first jam of the game. That ended up being a 4-0 jam in favor of Denver. Let's see what we've got going on now in jam number 5. Okay, Sid Vicious in lead now for Denver. Okay, Sid Vicious calling off that jam with 4 points. So Pittsburgh scoreless, still stuck at the 3-point mark. Denver 32. Coming out to, I love the name Waffles. I love that name Waffles so much. Number 666 from Denver. I had 2 miniature waffles this morning before I left, very early for this tournament. I think the sugar is running off. Number 666 Waffles is our lead jammer. On the line with the star for Pittsburgh, number 108 Pound Cake. Waffles, lead jammer for Denver. So this is 3 leads in a row for Denver with Waffles in control. Well, wait a minute now. Waffles is going to have a seat here in the waffle maker with a high block penalty. So no longer lead jammer. This is going to be a 2-minute jam. Right now, Pound Cake 108, the sole jammer on the track, gets a block there with number 616. That is Denver's El Diablo. Now, we cannot finish this game without a Diablo versus Diablo jam. That is a JRDA requirement. Okay, well, Pound Cake is going to be called off on a track cut. So that's going to release Waffles from the waffle maker. It's going to use some non-stick spray on that. Waffles is released, and Waffles is in to score some points. 2-minute jam now, no longer a lead. Some solo blocking at the top of the pack by Halferoff, but Halferoff may have continued that block during a no pass to Halferoff. Oh, okay, Halferoff is going to have a seat in the box. Waffles has 4 points. El Diablo and Peanut Cutter working in some 2-wall against Waffles. While Pound Cake completes an initial pass, there is no chance for a call-off, and Peanut Cutter going to have a seat in the box. Okay, that jam is brought to an end. Waffles with an 8-point run up against 2 points by 108 Pound Cake. So Denver now sitting at 4 points, Pittsburgh at 5. Number 17, Deer Dance out with the star for Pittsburgh. 88 Track Mamba taking that star for Denver. And it appears to be a 2-4 jam in favor of Denver. Pittsburgh down, 2 blockers in the box. Deer Dance giving everything she has, but Deer Dance is taken down on the line by 23 Belladonna. And Deer Dance is going to take a seat for that track cut. 2 Pittsburgh jammers back-to-back with track cutting penalties. Track Mamba does have lead and does now have 4 points with a total of an 8-point jam. Okay, Track Mamba now looking at a 12-point jam so far, with Deer Dance still paying their debt to the JRDA for that track cut a moment ago. Second highest scoring jam of the game, well, actually tied with Catatonic Bomb, who had a 16-point jam just a few moments ago. Peanut Cutter bracing the top of the pack along with G-Force, trying to put a slowdown on Track Mamba, who is still our lead jammer. They are stretching that pack out. Nice bridging there by Diablo. Fluid blocking, Squid A working in that tripod, now rotating to the brace, holding G-Force, and Peanut Cutter, who just putting an effective slowdown on Track Mamba. Now G-Force, pivot for Pittsburgh, is going to be called off, and another 4 going up for Track Mamba, making this a 20-point jam. Track Mamba still lead jammer, and looks like Track Mamba is going to run out the jam clock with just about 12 seconds to go. Peanut Cutter and Diablo lining up, each individually making a block, and it's effective because Track Mamba does go out of bounds and calls off the jam. Let's see what is going to be occurring for points. It looks like Boom is holding up 3 out of a potential 4 points, so a 23-point jam by Track Mamba. 23 is going to be the highest scoring jam of the game so far. Pittsburgh scoreless. We got Jasmine Devil taking on number 66, the Joker. One-on-one blocking at the top of the pack. Let's see, I think that might have been Dynamite Dog number 17. Track Mamba is out with lead. This is 5 leads in a row for Denver, and Track Mamba is in control. Track Mamba goes to the outside. Recycle is trying to avoid any chance of a track cutting penalty. Pittsburgh is going to be down 1 blocker in the box. Mad Catter having a seat. Track Mamba out with the first 4 points. Track Mamba is in full control right now. Track Mamba coming in, getting past those Pittsburgh blockers with another 4. Oh, Track Mamba with a bean dip trying to get around Halferoff, but Halferoff does get ahead of gets ahead of, I'm sorry, that is Jasmanian Devil. So Jasmanian Devil now looking at 12 points. Tricky Vic and Hufflepuff working the back of that tripod. Jasmanian Devil does get through now, making this a 16-point run. So the past couple jams for Denver have proven to be very lucrative. Now looks like G-Force receiving a star pass for Pittsburgh. G-Force gets ahead, and Jasmanian Devil calls off the action.
Wait, are you saying business partners? Okay, normally some people, that's often the partnership for another.
Official review called by Pittsburgh. The officials are currently deliberating. Once there's a ruling, we'll bring you the outcome and continue with our game. The jury has deliberated. Pittsburgh going for an official review, questioning whether or not the Denver Jammer had made illegal contact to the back of one of their blockers, which would constitute the back block penalty. When the officials got together and talked about the question in detail, it was determined that yes, that contact had occurred. That constitutes a penalty. So a late penalty will be called on, I believe that was Jasmanian Devil, who is going to start the jam in the box for Denver, giving a little bit of an advantage here for Pittsburgh with a power start. So with that power start underway, they're going to put on number 629 Punch Buggy on this power start. And Punch Buggy is out with lead jammer for Pittsburgh. Our pack picking up speed. Rubinator trying to take out number 17, Dynamite Dog. Punch Buggy is out with some points. Jasmanian Devil coming in from that penalty that was called as a result of that official review. Punch buggy taken out of bounds, coming around the turn, and recycled. It has a full wall of Denver blockers behind her. Punch buggy goes for the call off just as she's taken down by 23, Belladonna. So a 7-point jam by Punch Buggy. That's going to be Pittsburgh's highest scoring jam so far of the game. Nothing scored by Denver. Back to a regular jam start, and appears to be a 5-on-5 jam. Well, I can't quite see. Yeah, a 5-on-5 jam. Catatonic bomb, number 22, taking on 66, the Joker. Lead jammer going to the Joker. So 2 leads in a row for the Pittsburgh Derby Brats. Okay, Denver coming up. I'm sorry, that is the Joker coming up on a scoring trip. Getting through with 4 points, calling off the action. Pittsburgh keeping Denver scoreless. They're at 83. Pittsburgh now is 16. So 108 pound cake out there. Hey, there's Waffles out to jam again, number 666. And Pound Cake getting ahead of Waffles, but taking on all 4 of those. Wow, Big Rig trying to work some offense for Pound Cake, trying to clear out a hole. And Pound Cake, okay, is out, but it looks like that may be an incomplete initial pass. Yeah, it is. So no pass, no penalty, but Pound Cake, though, is able to score. Waffles still has a chance of picking up lead, but it's taken down by Big Rig. Big Rig with a hip check there on taking Waffles down. Waffles gets out, just about considers passing the star, but keeps that star on their helmet and is lead jammer. Waffles goes for the call off after Pound Cake puts up 4 points for Pittsburgh. Official review being called by Denver. Our officials are talking about the question, and once there is an official ruling, we'll bring you the details. Philly Juniors would like to thank 187 Killer Pads for their support this season. If you skate, you know 187 Killer Pads are the choice of more pro skaters than any other brand. With visionary designs and top-rated safety and a variety of spectacular patterns, don't skate without your 187 pads. Still in this official review, unofficial review called by Denver coming to an end. There is a ruling. So Denver called this review asking whether or not there should be a track cut issued on the Pittsburgh jammer. That was pound cake in the previous jam. On their initial pass, whether or not they had cut the track around a blocker, a Denver blocker, and the officials got together. Now, they have a very close vantage point to that track. They are watching those lines, but sometimes it just takes multiple people to put some things together. So they have determined that the track cut on the Pittsburgh jammer did actually occur. So that's going to put pound cake, I believe, in the box and get a power start here for Denver. So we did see an incomplete initial pass on that first jam, a moment ago, and that may have just been upgraded to a track cut. So now track Mamba picking up lead for Denver, and it is a power jam in Denver's favor. And track Mamba picking up 4 points on that scoring pass. Now track Mamba working on a second scoring trip. Pound cake finishes her time in the box, and she's going to come back in. Denver with a tripod at the back. They are tracking pound cake back and forth, keeping her stuck at the bottom of the pack. Mad Catter coming up front along with Squid-A. Squid-A bridging the pack, trying to set things up for Mad Catter to make some defense, but track Mamba is out now with another 4 points on an 8-point jam. Pound cake does gain some track there, but gets some one-on-one blocking as Denver blockers catch up to Pound Cake. Meanwhile, track Mamba finishing a third pass, making this 12-point jam. Rubinator and Squid-A and Mad Cat are working that tripod against track Mamba, but track Mamba jukes to the inside quicker than they can block and has another 4, so that's 16 points. Pound Cake completing an initial pass. Track Mamba now looking at a 20-point jam, and that jam going to be called off. So last time Track Mamba was out, Track Mamba had a 23-point jam, now a 20-point jam, so certainly one of our higher scoring jammers of the game. Minute, 11 minutes left to our first half of the game. We're going to have number 17, Deer Dance, taking on number 10. This is Sid Vicious. Both jammers are out of bounds on the outside and must restart these passes. Sid Vicious will be called off on a track cut, lending some help here to number 17, Deer Dance, who has the chance of a power jam in her hands. Denver, though, with a 2-on-1 block. Okay, Deer Dance is out with lead. Jammer for Pittsburgh. Deer Dance coming in full speed ahead, taking full advantage of this power jam. Painbow with some one-on-one blocking against Deer Dance while Denver reforms their defense at the top of the pack. There is a whistle that's going to put Painbow in the box. Deer Dance with 4 points now for the Brats. Sid Vicious is out of the box from that earlier track cut, and that jam is called off. So Pittsburgh keeping Denver scoreless. Nothing jam there in favor of Pittsburgh. They're at 28. Denver 103. 9:46 left on our period clock for the first half of the game. The Joker taking on number 22, Catatonic Bomb. And Pittsburgh with a pack advantage. Denver down a blocker. Catatonic Bomb is out with lead jammer. We did see a 16-point jam by Catatonic Bomb earlier in this game. Pittsburgh has all 4 blockers against Catatonic. Catatonic goes for the call-off, recognizing the threat of Joker, gaining some speed. All said and done, 3-0 there for Denver. Score now, Denver 106, Pittsburgh 28, 8:50 left to our first half. Punch Buggy 629 out there taking on Waffles. And Punch Buggy gets out. Nice defense though by 44, Mars. Bars taking Punch Buggy out of bounds to the inside. It looks like Pittsburgh losing both their jammer and a Rubinator to the penalty box, so Waffles has a chance of picking up lead. Gorilla Biscuits and Big Rig working there. Okay. Some defense there on Waffles, but Waffles does get out with lead jammer. And Waffles is on a power jam. Pittsburgh filling up the penalty box. So Big Rig mostly working solo as a blocker on the track. And Waffles gets past Big Rig with 4 points. Oh no, okay, never mind. There were no points scored as according to our jam referee, so we'll let that one go. Punch Buggy coming in from that earlier penalty. Rubinator works some one-on-one block in there, getting joined by, I believe, G-Force against Waffles. Waffles getting some assistance, though, some offense from 811. That's Cottonmouth. Working some offense there for Waffles. Now G-Force topping the pack with some one-on-one blocking against Waffles. Looks like the pack splits up, so G-Force continues that block during a no pack and will have to go sit for the failure to reform the illegal contact penalty. Let's see what we got here for points. We didn't see any points on Waffles' first pass after getting lead. It looks like, okay, Waffles does pick up 4. So 110 now, Denver. Pittsburgh scoreless on that jam there at 28. 6:38 left to our first half. Number 1111, Jasmine Devil out. And Pittsburgh calling for a team timeout. Skate with confidence, whether your sport involves 2, 4, or 8 wheels. AAA is the leading brand of helmets and protective gear worn by everyone from beginners to the best skate athletes in the world. Probably find the majority of our skaters wearing AAAs this weekend. Philly Juniors would like to thank AAA for helping to protect our brains again this season. This is our first time hosting an event at Marple Sports Arena, and we want to give a huge thanks to Jim and his staff for helping make this weekend possible. Everyone's losing everything. Headphones, phones, watches. All right, our team timeout coming to an end. Jam timer Frenchie blowing that rolling whistle, meaning that we are going back to some more derby. Punch Buggy taking the star up against number 1111, Jasmanian Devil. Looks like Punch Buggy may actually be starting in the box. According to my records here, they may have been a jammer penalty. That appears to be the case. So Jasmanian Devil on a power start, and Jasmanian Devil is out with a very quick lead, making this 3 leads in a row for Denver. Punch Buggy is released from the box, I should say. Oh, Punch Buggy trying to ride right behind Jasmanian Devil and use the same hole, but Denver being wise to that tactic, taking Punch Buggy out of bounds. Jasmanian Devil with 4 points. Now Jasmanian Devil before I can even look, has another 4 points. These are some real fast jammers. Punch Buggy now on a third scoring pass. Jasmine Devil, I should say, is out on the third scoring pass. Jasmine Devil on an 8-point run, but in the midst of a third scoring trip, so there are probably some points that are not displayed yet. Squid A and number 38, Rubinator, working in that tripod with, I believe, G-Force, trying to put a slowdown on Jasmanian Devil, but Jasmanian is out now with 12 more, making this a, 4 more, making this a 12-point jam. Okay, nice blocking there nice bracing by Squid Day. Bracing up against Ruinator, putting a slowdown there on Jasmanian Devil, but Jasmanian Devil's out with another 4 points in Pittsburgh with a star pass. Looks like G-Force receiving that star pass. And Jasmanian Devil calling off the jam with either two more points or Boom is giving us the rock on hand signal. One of the two. So we saw Jasmanian Devil put up a 20-point jam earlier on in the game. Now this is an 18-point jam for Jasmanian Devil. So our score, Denver 128, Pittsburgh 30 with 4.5 left to our first half. We've got Deer Dance 17 versus 88 Track Mamba. Track Mamba is lead. Track Mamba has the first 4 points of the jam and still lead jammer. Pittsburgh remaining scoreless so far. Denver so far. Track Mamba on a third scoring trip. Diablo and Tricky Vic goes for a last-minute block, and Tricky Vic is successful. Deer Dance actually crashing into Tricky Vic, but Tricky Vic does take Track Mamba out of bounds on the inside and forces that recycle. Track Mamba coming out with another 4, making this a 12-point jam. Track Mamba, realizing the threat of Deer Dance coming up, calls off the jam. Pittsburgh calling for an official review here. Once there's an outcome, we'll bring you the details and go back to our game. Pittsburgh with this official review. Bringing the question whether or not the Denver Jammer committed a track cut. And the previous jam with their blocker Diablo taking that jammer out of bounds. The track cut did not occur, so they will lose that review for the period. We are back to more derby. Number 10, Sid Vicious picking up lead here for Denver. Out the jam for Pittsburgh, 108 pound cake. We were wondering whose that was.
That's not gross at all.
I don't, who, just, oh, okay, well, that's a reasonable, we weren't sure if you just put it here and walked away.
Was it my helmet?
No, you should.
Okay, so that was a 4-0. They were just, have a lost mouth guard that was recovered. Glad it got back to its owner. So 4-0 for Denver. They're at 146, Pittsburgh 30. They've been scoreless. Out to jam now, 22, Catatonic Bomb for Denver. Catatonic is lead jammer, minute 41 on our period clock. The Joker, number 66, has a star for Pittsburgh. Nice rollback by Mad Catter, taking Catatonic Bomb out of bounds to the inside. Now Diablo working some defense. Mars Bars doing some offense for Catatonic Bomb, and it's effective. And Catatonic Bomb is out with 4 points. Joker completing a pass. Catatonic Bomb now working on a second scoring trip and makes the decision to call off the jam with 4 points. Seconds left to our first half. Waffles taking on Punch Buggy in this next jam. And Punch Buggy gets out with a Pittsburgh lead. Waffles, though, coming up close behind Punchy. So looking at potentially some jammer on jammer action to finish out our first half. G-Force with a hip check takes Waffles out of bounds. Nice block there by G-Force. Now G-Force spins around, begins tracking Waffles on the track. Hey, a little bit of a fist bump there. It's all love on the Valentine's Day weekend here at Philly. Of course, this Philly is all love. So we are in halftime. Denver 152, Pittsburgh 32. 2-point run there by Punch Buggy, bringing Pittsburgh to 32. Waffles scoreless in that jam. We're going to take a 15-minute break and come back to you with the second half of this game pretty shortly. Halftime now, Denver 152, Pittsburgh 32. We have Sid Vicious out there taking on the Joker. And Sid Vicious gets 2 whistles. That means Sid is our lead jammer. And Sid Vicious coming out with the first 4 points of the jam. Our pack picking up. Sid Vicious coming in, making 4 more points and calling off the action, keeping that jam 8-0 there in favor of Denver. Catch our next game after this. This will be going to be right around the 1:30 mark, which may or may not be pushed back. That's going to be the Philly All-Stars taking on Black Rose. And then our last game here of Philly Fest to close the weekend out will be around the 3:45 mark Eastern time for those on the live feed. Philly All-Stars versus Pittsburgh. I am looking forward to the fan section of that game because it's going to get intense. Right now, we have number 108 Pound Cake as lead jammer for Pittsburgh. Pound Cake coming in, our pack picking up speed. Pound Cake is in now for some points. She's in and signals the call off. Let's see what she has to show for it on that jam. Denver is going to be scoreless. Pound Cake with a +1, so it is a 1-point advantage for Pittsburgh. Okay, Denver looking at a score of 162, Pittsburgh 33. Right off that whistle, we got Deer Dance out with lead jammer for Pittsburgh. Deer Dance taking on number 1111, Jasminian Devil. Nice haul there by Deer Dance because we've seen Jasminian Devil pick up lead pretty much each time they've been out to jam. So Deer Dance definitely picked up some speed on that initial pass, but now Deer Dance is stuck behind Denver's defense in the pack. Penalty box is clear, so this is a full 5-on-5. Mars Bar stepping in there for some defense on Deer Dance. Shiva the Destroyer also working some of that defense there against Deer Dance. We've seen Mars Bars do some pretty good defense here in the game, taking jammers out and running them back. Now Mars Bars holding part of a solid tripod. Oh, there it is. Mars Bars with a block there on Deer Dance. And a takedown by Painbow, but Deer Dance stays inbounds, and she's got those 4 points, those well-deserved 4 points after having to go through that funhouse of Denver blockers. Yeah, we do. It's been a long weekend. It's only noon. Only noon. 12:23 p.m. here on the East Coast in Broomall, Pennsylvania, for those on the live feed. This is Philly Fest 2026 to kick off the Junior Derby season here. 37 Pittsburgh, Denver 160. So Denver, I believe, might have been scoreless. Catatonic Bomb 22 out for Denver, and Catatonic is lead jammer. The roster says Catatonic with an N and Catatonic with an M, as in Mary on the scoreboard. So one of those is correct, and if it's not the one I'm saying, I apologize there, Catatonic. Okay, +4 for Denver. They're 164. Pittsburgh scoreless 37. 25 minutes left to our game. There is the number 66, the Joker. And 666, it's Waffles once again. Nice haul by Waffles, right up the middle of that pack, and Waffles is our lead jammer. Cottonmouth bringing the Joker to the line and holding that position solid, freezing the Joker on this initial pass. Waffles now in the score. Pittsburgh putting all four of their blockers ahead of Waffles. Shiva the Destroyer making the decision to either try to play offense or continue blocking. The Joker is out with completing the initial pass, and Waffles decides to call off the jam with 4 points. So Pittsburgh at 37, Denver 168. Penalty box still clear, so this jam will be 5-on-5. I'm looking at number 10, Sid Vicious, taking on Pound Cake number 108 from Pittsburgh. Deer Dance creeping up to the bench. Okay, lead open. 108 Pound Cake pushing up against that 2 wall of Denver blockers. Hella Destroyer with a bird's eye view there on Pound Cake, not letting her get through. Mad Catter trying to work some offense for Pound Cake, trying to clear out a hole on the inside. Peanut Cutter trying to stop their offense from doing their job. We do have a lead jammer here going to Denver with Sid Vicious in control. Okay, Sid Vicious out with the first 4 points of the jam. Pound Cake still trapped at the back of the pack. 0-2 Rainbow Bomber working with 462 Barracuda in the back of that pack, keeping Pound Cake stuck. Meanwhile, here comes Sid Vicious with another 4 points, and Sid Vicious goes for the call-off. So they're keeping Pittsburgh scoreless and a +8 for Denver. '69 Punch Buggy out there now to jam for Pittsburgh. And there is number 88 Track Mamba with the star for Denver. Okay, Track Mamba slicing right through that pack, picking up lead jammer for Denver. Punch Buggy, though, does get out of the pack. Track Mamba creeping up. Big Rig trying to keep Mars Bars stuck there in the bottom of the pack. There's a call off. Let's see what we got for points. That's going to be scoreless for Pittsburgh and a +4 for Denver. So Denver doing really, really good. Good job at getting these 4 points and calling the jams off short. Joker powering through off that initial pass, picking up lead for Pittsburgh. Out to jam for Denver, number 11, Jasmanian Devil. Diablo making a block at the bottom of the pack against Jasmanian Devil. Jasmanian Devil does have 2 points off that, and a 2 there for Denver. So if I'm sorry, for Pittsburgh. So all said and done, 2-2. That jam going to be a wash for both teams. Catatomic Bomb 22 taking that star now. And waiting for Pittsburgh to field a blocker. They're going to call for a team timeout. Special shout out to all of the photographers who are here this weekend. Your photographs not only make these skaters look amazing, but they provide them with special keepsakes that will last them a lifetime. We are thankful that you have chosen to spend your time with us here at Philly and share your talents with us. Drew Wiedemann, Andrew Keys, Ross Eber, Father Biscuits, and all of the other league photographers who are here. Thank you so much. There are some some posters printed out that have some QR codes for each of our photographers. Those are a link to view the pictures after the tournament is over and those pictures are finalized. But if you don't get a chance to see those posters, just follow our photographers on their socials. They are typically pretty good at getting those pictures up within a day or two of the tournament. Okay, coming out of that team timeout called by the Pittsburgh bench. Looking to see who Pittsburgh is going to put out with the jammer star. I don't believe they received the penalty in that jam. There's nobody sitting in that jammer seat. Okay, this may be pound cake. I do think this is a 108 pound cake on the jammer line for Pittsburgh and catatonic bomb number 22 for Denver. Definitely correct there on the pound cake. Denver throwing all 4 of their blockers at pound cake at the bottom of the pack, and they are keeping her stuck. Cottonmouth, one of those butt positions of that tripod. But pound cake does get through that Denver defense, and she is lead jammer for Pittsburgh. Here comes pound cake full speed ahead, crashing into that defense. Pound cake takes a spill on her skates, and she calls off the jam. That jam will be scoreless for both teams, so Denver still at 182, Pittsburgh 39. Deer, it almost seems like anytime pound cake is off the jam, Deer Dance is not far to follow. Deer Dance is out, taking on 666. This is Waffles. Mad Catter working the top of that pack. Trying to do some offense for Deer Dance, but Waffles is out with lead jammer. A little bit of a tumble there in the pack as things start to close up. Waffles sails through with 4 points to show for it. Okay, Waffles stuck now on the scoring pass as Pittsburgh passes their star to Diablo. Waffles goes and calls off the jam mid-scoring pass. Let's see how many blockers Waffles has actually passed. So that is going to be a clean 4-point run, making this an 8-point jam for Waffles, and Pittsburgh scoreless. Down to 19 minutes left to our game. Denver 190, Pittsburgh 39. Pittsburgh has 6'2" punch buggy taking on Sid Vicious. Pittsburgh is going to be down 1 blocker, so it's going to be 3-4 pack here in favor of Denver. All right, somebody really close pinned my raccoon. Okay. Punch buggy is out with lead jammer for Pittsburgh, but look at that jump by Sid Vicious. Rubinator goes in for a block on the line, and Sid Vicious doesn't do a bean dip. Sid Vicious just jumps over Rubinator, and it works out in their favor. So we are jammer on jammer now with Punch Buggy in control. Punch Buggy takes a bit of a spin and a tumble and calls off the jam, but not without 2 points. Let's see what we got here. 3 points for Pittsburgh, 4 points for Denver. So a net 1 for Denver ended up being in their favor. Track Mamba number 88 taking on number 66. This is the Joker. Lead jammer still open, and it is 3-4 in favor of Denver. Pittsburgh down a blocker in the box. Track Mamba coming into that tripod, held up at the top of the pack by Mad Catter bracing. Now Mad Catter rotates that tripod and gets to the back. Diablo working the pivot position for Pittsburgh with some blocking there on Track Mamba. Track Mamba does get out with a Denver lead. Track Mamba coming out with lead jammer here for with 4 points, I should say, for Denver. First 4 points to the jam. Pound Cake out there now taking on Jasminian Devil. Jasminian Devil tries to juke to the inside after not making it through on the out. Pittsburgh maintaining their wall, keeping Jasminian Devil stuck on this initial pass. Meanwhile, Pound Cake called off on a track cut. So Pittsburgh loses a chance for a lead. Lead was still on the table now, and it's going to Jasminian Devil. An incomplete scoring pass by Jasminian Devil yields those 3 out of 4 points. But Denver now, they're over the 200-point mark. Pittsburgh 42. We are mid-jam. Jasminian Devil coming up. Pittsburgh has all 4 of their blockers at the top of the pack. Jasminian Devil just trying to get in and break that seam between those two Pittsburgh butts at the bottom of the pack. Kitty Killjoy working up front, rotating that tripod. G-Force with some last minute, getting to the top with some last minute blocking, but Jasminian Devil is out with another 4 points, so 7 points with that first scoring pass being incomplete. Pound Cake coming out of the box after that earlier track cut. Jammer is pretty well right around the same mark. Atomic Bomb versus number 17, Deer Dance. And Atomic Bomb is out with lead. Jammer. Nice block by Mad Catter, taking Atomic Bomb out of bounds to the inside, and Atomic calling off the jam before Deer Dance can come in and put any points up. So Pittsburgh will be scoreless, and let's see, that's going to be maybe +2 for Denver. Okay, 3 points for Denver. They're at 218, Pittsburgh 42 in the last quarter of this game with 13 minutes left on the clock. Waffles out there versus Punch Buggy. These two jammers have matched up a couple times already. Mars Bar is trying to work some defense there for Waffles. Gorilla Biscuits, number 301 with some blocking on Waffles. Rubinator gets up ahead, but Waffles is out with lead. Jammer. Okay, Waffles has 4 points. Looks like Punch Buggy is the wearing the Jammer star now for Pittsburgh. Punchy times out of the box, comes back in. So Waffles with another 4 points now, making this an 8-point jam. Punch Buggy trying to come through. He's taking a bounce to the outside. 616 El Diablo from Denver, working part of that defense for Denver. And Waffles is out with 4 more points. Punch Buggy still working against this Denver defense. Squid A taking Waffles down. And G-Force capturing Waffles. Nice hook there by G-Force, but it looks like G-Force is at the threat of going out of play. Punch Buggy appears to be back in the box as the Jammer. Oh, it looks like G-Force has some hand in taking Waffles down, coming around the turn. There it is. I think we go for the full 2 minutes. Waffles with a 20-point jam. Pittsburgh scoreless. Feel like Jammer is trying to go through Denver's defense like Harry and Marr trying to go through the Home Alone Kevin McAllister house. It just feels like they just get blasted every minute. Okay, going into a timeout called by our officials. We have a timeout called by our officials with about 10.5 minutes left on our period clock. Philly Juniors wants to scream and shout to recognize our uniform sponsor and #1 league supporter, Skate Free or Die. Besides creating quality team jerseys as well as special items such as fully custom scrimmage jerseys, the personal touch and gold medal-worthy customer service, Skate Free or Die should be added to your roster for the 2025-2026 season. Give them a call and tell them Philly Juniors sent you. Next game on our very official schedule here for Philly Fest is going to be potentially around the 1:30 mark, give or take. Probably going to be giving more than taking on that. Sometimes we do run late. That's going to be the Philly All-Stars versus Black Rose. And after that, Philly All-Stars, man, they're going back-to-back because their next game will be playing Pittsburgh. That's the game we want to be here for. Not necessarily a championship game, but that's the game we know is going to be the most intense. We also know how Philly sports fans are, so I'm going to hide behind some plexiglass for that game. All right, Sid Vicious versus Punch Buggy. Punch Buggy times out of the box. Nice three, while Punch Buggy trying to get through that defense. I feel like Jammers getting through Denver's defense is like when we all tried to get through 2020. It just felt like it was one thing after the other. All right, and a knock out of bounds by the Denver pivot. That's 0-2 Rainbow Bomber. And a hard-fought lead by Sid Vicious puts Sid Vicious in control of the jam. And a star pass to 0-0 Mad Catter. Mad Catter getting some love from our Pittsburgh fans in the crowd. Sid Vicious coming out with 4 points on that scoring pass. Okay, that jammed over. Now under 10 minutes to go to our game. Denver 242, Pittsburgh 42, so it's a clean 200-point game right now. '66, the Joker out the jam versus number 88 Track Mamba. Now, the Joker did get ahead, but was captured by that Denver defense just in time for Track Mamba to break through and pick up lead for Denver. So looking number 17, Deer Dance, and Catatomic Bomb, number 22, out for Denver. Denver did pick up 1 point on that jam, so they're at 243. Pittsburgh scoreless 42. We are off to the races on that whistle. Denver down a blocker, so Pittsburgh with this pack advantage in this jam. Deardan's breaks out, and she's our lead jammer. Pittsburgh's defense holding back Catatonic Bomb. Now, Catatonic Bomb gets a block by number 48, Tricky Vic, but Tricky Vic's going to be called off on a low block. She is skating to that box, laughing, haha, worth it. Tricky Vic has a seat there in the penalty box. So Catatonic Bomb is out and gaining speed. Deardan's realizing the threat of Catatonic Bomb creeping up on the pack, calls off the jam, keeping this jam in favor of Pittsburgh 4-0. So they're a 46, Denver 243. Waffles and pound cake. And Waffles topping pound cake. Waffles is in control. Pound cake, though, does get out of the pack. Well, that was a very impressive stop there by Pound Cake. Stops on a dime. Okay, Denver 2-0 for that. They're at 245, Pittsburgh 46. A little bit of a fist bump there between Punch Buggy and Jasmanian Devil. Denver down two blockers in the box, so Pittsburgh starting this with the pack advantage. Old-fashioned pivot line start there, giving our jammers a chance to get some speed, and Punch Buggy is out with lead jammer for Pittsburgh. Jasmine and Devil being trapped behind that three wall of Pittsburgh blockers. Punch Buggy gets taken out of bounds and brought to the back by number 18. That is Shiva the Destroyer. Punch Buggy going into that tripod, trying to break apart that seam. Peanut Cutter taking one of those blockers out of bounds, clearing out that track a little bit for Punchy. So Punchy calls off the jam just as Jasmine Devil breaks out of the pack. So that jam ultimately is going to be a sacrifice. That's going to be scoreless for both teams. So Denver is still at 245, Pittsburgh 50 with 5 minutes to go. The Joker taking number 10, Sid Vicious, and it is 5-on-5. Sid Vicious is out. Joker gets run to the inside and taken out of bounds. Sid Vicious goes for the call-off. Joker unable to score, so plus 4 there for Denver. They're at 249, Pittsburgh stuck at 50. We're going to timeout here by our officials with about 4 minutes left to our game. I see 108 Pound Cake out there with the Jammer Star and 88 Track Mamba with the star for Denver. We would like to thank all of the officials who have traveled from near and far to be with us this weekend. Without you, this weekend would not have been possible. The skaters are so grateful for your time, support, and guidance as they navigate this game of roller derby. Pittsburgh has a very vocal cheering section. I would say make sure you have some energy for that Philly-Pittsburgh game here at the end of the day. I'm not sure which scares me more, the skaters or the fans for that one. I'll probably be behind plexiglass in case a fight breaks out. Still in this timeout here by our officials, Denver 249, Pittsburgh 50. See Philly and Black Rose getting ready to play shortly here. The second to last game of Philly Fest. Okay. End of that official timeout and going into our next jam. Just under 4 minutes left on the official period clock. 108 pound cake from Pittsburgh, 88 track Mamba facing off on the jammer line. Which of these jammers shall be the fairest? Well, let's see. Track Mamba is out, but Pound Cake did get some speed coming around the outside, so luck of the draw, Track Mamba was out first. However, both jammers are on a full sprint as the pack speeds up, trying to outrun those jammers. Track Mamba is in, comes up on Tricky Vic and Mad Catter. Track Mamba gets out with those 4 points and calls it off. If your jammer, I guess, can't get in, then your blockers will outrun the other jammer, and then you have USARs. 201 point game. Denver 253, Pittsburgh 52, 3:10 left on the clock. '17 Deer Dance. Out to jam for the first time, 23, Belladonna. Belladonna is out, getting past G-Force, picking up lead for Denver. Deer Dance working up ahead, getting past Sid Vicious. Belladonna in for some points. Big Rig holding solid there on the inside line. Sid Vicious going to be called off on a clockwise block penalty. Belladonna with 4 points and ending that jam with 2.5 left on the period clock. Time for at least 2 more jams. Got some waffles on the jammer line, taking on 629 Punch Buggy. Denver down a blocker in the box, so Pittsburgh with the pack advantage. Diablo and Tricky Vic out there, along with Mad Catter and Huffleruff. Punch Buggy fighting to get up front. Waffles picked up some speed, but Punch Buggy is out with lead jammer. Waffles taken on a bounce and brought to the back by number 4, Diablo. Waffle sneaking around Diablo, completes that pass. Now Punch Buggy in for some points, and Punchy is out with 4. Punchy making the call off, keeping Denver scoreless on that jam. Minute 35 left on the period clock. Denver maintaining that 200-point lead over Pittsburgh, 257, Pittsburgh 56. The Joker out now versus Catatonic Bomb. The Joker crashing into that wall of Denver blockers. G-Force trying to work some offense, and the Joker is out with a Pittsburgh lead. So back-to-back leads for Pittsburgh. Nice defense there on the inside line by G-Force, just sitting on that Denver jammer. Joker working at the bottom of the pack. Denver has their entire defensive power back there working against the Joker. Catatonic bomb does come out of the pack. Joker with those 4 points and the jam called off. Seconds left on the period clock, and we could have expected that timeout to be called. That's going to buy one last jam of the game. Timeout called by Pittsburgh, so give us about 60 seconds, and we're going to bring to you the final jam of our midday game here at Philly Juniors Philly Fest in Broomall, Pennsylvania at the Marple Sports Arena. For those on the live feed, thank you for spending your weekend or part of your weekend with us. Make sure you follow Philly Roller Derby Juniors on our social media outlets. We are still working on a finalized schedule for the season. We are at least looking at doing our annual hoagie roll in May. It's usually we're from the middle to end of May we're doing that. And that's going to be the same kind of format where it's a full weekend of JRDA, some sanctioned games. Hella Destroyer, number 29, out to jam for the first time, taken on from Pittsburgh 108. This is Pound Cake. There it is. Frenchie blowing that rolling whistle, taking a dramatic end to that team timeout. We are now off on the final countdown of the game. There it is. That whistle blows. We are off to the races. Pound Cake out, picking up lead for Pittsburgh. Hella Destroyer taken on a bounce and forced to recycle. Hella dukes to the inside and is out. So Pound Cake now able to score some points. Gets some blocking by Mars Bars, the Denver pivot. Mars Bars taking Pound Cake out of bounds to the inside. Now Mars Bars working some defense along with Jasminian Devil. Pound Cake does go for the call off, bringing us to an unverified, unofficial score. Unofficial. We have to count everything and make sure everything looks good as far as numbers and math before we declare an official. But right now, tentative score, Pittsburgh 63, Denver 257. We still have MVPs to give out once that is done. We're going to move on into the intermission period between our next game, which is going to be Philly All-Stars versus Black Rose. Rolling whistle makes it official. Pittsburgh 63, Denver taking the win, 257. Give both teams a round of applause for a very hard-fought game. They're going to take a victory lap, and we'll do our MVPs.